Hello, everyone. Welcome back to On Point Politics. And today I'm going to be going over a few election prediction videos. And I want to talk about, just my analysis and kind of reacting to other people's presidential election predictions for the 2024 cycle. A lot of these predictions are based out of January, and I think one of them is based out of mid-December. So data and things like that could be a little bit outdated, but we will be going into this and kind of analyzing what I think about each of the predictions. If you guys do enjoy the video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the post bell notification so you don't miss another video that I post. And consider joining the channel for just $4.99 a month for an exclusive membership to a Discord server and exclusive videos once a week. And without further ado, let's get into the video. And so this is the 2020 election results. And you can see, Biden barely won by about 43 combined thousand votes in across 3 states. And Trump kind of expanded his margins in Florida, was able to do a lot better with Hispanic voters, improved in southern Texas, did somewhat okay in the rural areas. And now we're going to be going over everybody's prediction and kind of matching it to the 2020 results so we can see if they're on par or not. So the first map I'm going to be going over, which is by far the most conservative, probably the most accurate. I have stated as myself as the second most accurate political forecaster out of all of these forecasters, including all of the YouTubers, including all of the mainstream media, because in 2020, I predicted that Biden was going to win 278 to 260, with Biden winning the Rust Belt. And the only two states I ended up getting wrong was Arizona and Georgia. And this map, which is from EPO official, Election Prediction Official, this map is from his model that he's constructed for the 2024 cycle. And this is what he has as his model as of right now. And not only that, he also has, predicted the 2020 election with only one state incorrect. So he is technically the most accurate election prediction forecaster known as of right now, because nobody predicted the 306 margin, at least nobody reputable on YouTube. Meanwhile, I predicted his same prediction for 2020. I mean, the margins were probably off, but in 2020, the only two states I got wrong were Arizona and Georgia. So I'm technically, according to his metric and everybody else's metrics, the second most accurate forecaster out of all of these people. And so for this map, I think that this characterization, I think he's using R plus 10 as safe. I think Florida more than likely is a little bit too Republican. I think North Carolina here, I don't know if he has it at like a 5 or 6 or like an 8 or 9 point, but I think it's closer to maybe 5 or 6. Georgia, he has it as lean, which I think he had it as like a 2.5 victory, which is reasonable. But I think Trump can actually do a little bit better here than that. I think he might actually perform very surprisingly here. I think he may do better than people are expecting. I do think the Rust Belt is a little bit too close, especially Wisconsin. I do think it is too close. Meanwhile, I think New Mexico and Virginia are still way too close as of right now. Basically, under the notion, I'm basically kind of predicting a tied popular vote as of right now. So that's kind of what I'm going off of. I still think it's way too. These are too close. I think they're over 5 point victories. And I think this is still going to be over a 10 point win for now. Same thing with Oregon. I think Nevada and Arizona are pretty reasonable. However, I do have Arizona as likely, which is a pretty bullish prediction. But as of right now, he is basically, at the same electoral vote count as me. Ready Go Politics has this map where he has Colorado going over by 10. And this is a little bit more of a realistic prediction. He has Nebraska's second district really close. He has Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan all under a 1% margin. He has Wisconsin and North Carolina at lean. This is a little bit more of a realistic one in my personal opinion. This makes a little bit more sense, especially how Trump's polling very, very, very far ahead. And so I do think, again, he'd do it a little bit better in Georgia and Arizona, but the Nevada prediction could be realistic. If Biden does win the popular vote by like a point or a point and a half, I do think that this would be a pretty realistic scenario for it to even happen. Maybe even a Biden +2 scenario. I could even see this happening as well, but he's pretty right on the money in terms of the states. Now here we have real Americans, or start over. Right here, we have Real Americans election prediction where he basically does it by probabilities. He doesn't really do it by the actual margin. So, like, basically, he's saying, like, if it's a safe margin, it's like a 90% chance they're going to go. If it's likely, it's like a 75% chance, et cetera, et cetera. So, he basically has Florida and all of the, Great Plains and Appalachian states and some of the Midwest here basically going safe far, including Florida. He has Texas and North Carolina as basically over 60% chances of going to the GOP. And he has Georgia at a pretty decent amount, like a 55% chance of victory for Trump. The things that he's a little bit more concerned about is Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. And for some reason, he's very iffy on Michigan. As of right now, I do think Trump would probably win Michigan by slightly over a point. Maybe he something like that. But this, I mean, is close to what I've had. I think he does better in Wisconsin. He does better in Arizona. But for now, I think this is a pretty okay prediction. So for this one, we have PA Election HQ's video where basically he was talking about how Trump is stronger than ever, kind of like how I did in the other video. And so basically kind of gave like a little bit of an electoral map analysis, and he actually has Michigan voting to the right of Wisconsin. I don't know if he was doing this by polling data. I think this is more of like a general prediction, but he does have Michigan going to the right of Wisconsin, which I don't think Trump right now would get the black vote share necessary to really win Michigan by to the right of Pennsylvania or even Wisconsin. But I do think if Trump gets a really good scenario, like he wins like 30% of the black vote or like 25%, Michigan will probably vote to the right of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Recently, the polling for Biden has really been good in Pennsylvania, so that might be a warning sign. So I'm not going to flag him for really having Pennsylvania as a tilt state, but for now, this is what he has on the map. The next map is the Let's Talk elections prediction. And this guy has had a bunch of hot takes. He's had, times where he's had Mississippi way too close. He's had Kansas close back in 2020. He thought Biden was going to win 350 electoral votes, one of the most inaccurate forecastings for the 2024 election. But I think right now he's actually a little bit more on par as to what could happen. There could always be the case that Nevada does vote barely that does vote barely blue. Like if Biden does win the popular vote by 3 or 2 points, he could still win Nevada while losing Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. So I wouldn't be too surprised if this were to happen either. The one thing I would be cautionable on is Michigan. I think Trump could recreate his 2016 victory, which would be pretty cool, but I think that this one is a fairly decent estimate. I think North Carolina, I think, would be a bigger victory than this. And all of the lean states seem fairly reasonable. Michigan, going for Biden is not entirely impossible. It still really could. I think right now the states that Biden will literally just not win, period, are Wisconsin and North Carolina. I think it's virtually impossible for him to win those. And I think more than likely Georgia might even be added up into that column pretty soon, but not exactly looking like that yet. Once it does look like, I could basically say that it's going to pretty much be impossible for him to win this state, then it is going to be pretty much game over because Trump would have Wisconsin, would have North Carolina, would have Georgia, which would put him at a 251 floor. He would only need he would only need Pennsylvania or a combination of Nevada and Arizona or Michigan, and that's it. So not gonna lie, once Trump gets like to 251 as a floor prediction, that's gonna be a big problem for Biden. And so I think this is fairly realistic. Now, we do have a pretty plausible scenario here. This is from Let's Talk Politics. He is predicting that Trump is basically just going to flip back Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona, while Joe Biden wins 262 to 272. And he's kind of making the case that governors could pretty much play a big role into some candidate states, which I do think it could make a tiny bit of a difference, but I don't think it's as strong as an argument that he could make. Because if that were to be the case, Nevada would be going Republican here because Nevada has a Republican governor. So, and this would go Democrat because this has a Democratic governor. So that's kind of the thing. So I don't really necessarily think that that would be the case, but I do think this could be a scenario where, like, if Biden somehow wins the popular vote by 4 points instead of 4.5, I do think Trump could still win the Electoral College through Wisconsin, Georgia, and Arizona. That would be a plausible case, but I think as of right now, it's looking pretty impossible for Biden to win the popular vote close to 4 points. So this is not going to be my best rated prediction. I do think, yeah, if Biden were to somehow win the popular vote by a few million votes, then yeah, this is a pretty possible scenario. I just don't think that's going to be the case anymore. And then the last prediction is from Empire State Politics, which he basically has Joe Biden winning 303 to 235 electoral college votes. And you know what's actually quite funny about this is that I think as of right now, this is virtually impossible. I don't even think Biden could even win Wisconsin. I think it's virtually impossible. I think this is Biden's best case scenario for 2024. I think this is the worst case scenario or best case scenario for Biden. I don't think he'll win back. I don't think he's going to win Wisconsin. I don't think he'll win North Carolina. He'll hold everything and just get Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Arizona. Now, yes, this could happen. I don't think this would happen. I doubt this would happen. Trump and Obama, the last two incumbents, have underperformed in their electoral college, respectively. And so I don't think that Biden is going to buck that trend by gaining North Carolina. I don't think he's going to do it. And if he were to somehow win Wisconsin, it would literally be within 500 votes. Like it'd be a really close state. But I think right now, even if like Republicans get complacent and stuff like that, I still think it would virtually be impossible for Biden to win Wisconsin at this point. So his ceiling is 293 pretty much. And I even think that maybe even Georgia might even be a state that you could add to the Trump floor as well, more than likely. But we're going to get there when we get there. And so this is basically the most democratic prediction that he has right now. Basically, the argument he makes is that suburban women are going to fuck up Trump in the general and things like that, but I kind of honestly doubt that that's really going to be the case. I think that a lot of suburban women, yes, the suburbs are going to trend away from Trump, but I don't think they're necessarily going to vote away from him by so much to the point where he'll lose because of it. I kind of doubt that. I think if Trump loses, I think it would actually be more on him losing some of his base per se, or like becoming more establishmentarian. Like I think him picking Nikki Haley for president would be more of a problem for him than even suburban women in general. That's just my analysis on this. And so this, as of right now, is my worst rated prediction. He has Virginia going over 10 points. I don't think that would happen. I think it's Biden's going to under improve there. I think Colorado could be a state where he overperforms in. He could win it by more than what he won it by in 2020, especially because a lot of people from California are moving there. But I think as of right now, it's unlikely he's going to outperform there as well. This is a realistic scenario if Biden wins the popular vote by 4, but because I don't see that really happening anymore, this is not the best rated prediction. This one is okay. This one, I could see this happening. It could be a possibility. This one is a very unorthodox map. Michigan going to the right of Wisconsin. I don't really know about that. This is somewhat realistic. I could see Trump winning all the states except Michigan. That could happen, especially if Biden like just ever so slightly barely wins it. I think more than likely Trump does get the 312 to 226 victory as of right now. And I think based out of multiple projections, I think this is more realistic than even this per se. Because if Trump is winning the popular vote by effectively like in a tied popular vote, or Biden's winning the popular vote by 1 point, or like Trump's winning it by 1, I could probably see this being the map. The only thing I'd probably fix here is Wisconsin being lean, but that's pretty much it for this. And so those are it for all of my analysis on people's predictions. If you guys did enjoy the video, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell so you don't miss another video that I post. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.